The Deathworld Council had not seen such boldness in centuries. Inside the massive chamber, the galaxy's most dangerous and feared alien leaders sat on towering chairs. Each one was larger than a human, covered in scales, fur, or armor-like skin. Their eyes glowed in colors that humans did not have names for. Rumors whispered through the galaxy that no one could survive a meeting with the Council. No one. The air was tense, filled with the hum of alien technology and the faint smell of strange gases. Holographic displays floated above the chamber, showing star systems, battle reports, and intelligence from countless worlds. Every detail of every negotiation had been recorded for eons. And then, the doors opened. A group of humans walked in. Not in armor, not in tactical suits, not in formal attire. They wore simple t-shirts, jeans, and sneakers. They laughed quietly, exchanged smirks, and walked with a confidence that no one had expected. The chamber went silent. Even the hum of machines seemed to pause. The council members looked at each other, confusion and disbelief on their faces. One of the larger beings, covered in silver scales, leaned forward and hissed something in a language so old no one remembered its origin. Another, smaller but equally terrifying, clicked its mandibles in disbelief. "Who dares enter in such casualness?" one growled in a voice that shook the walls. Ilara, one of the humans, stepped forward. Her eyes scanned the chamber, taking in the towering aliens and their strange, glowing symbols. She did not flinch. Her grin grew wider. "We come in peace," she said, her voice calm but full of authority. "And we come as humans." Her companion, a tall man named Yarok, shrugged casually. "T-shirt seemed more comfortable than armor," he added with a smirk. "And honestly, we like to make an impression." A murmur spread through the chamber. No human had ever entered the Deathworld Council before, and certainly no human had dared to smile while doing it. The Council's eldest member, a creature whose tentacles stretched across half the hall, spoke slowly, its voice echoing in multiple tones. You are not afraid." Ilara tilted her head. "Afraid?" she repeated. "Why would we be afraid? We have a purpose, and we are here to fulfill it." The council members exchanged glances. Some hissed, some clicked, some glared. But none expected this. Humans were supposed to be fragile, weak, insignificant. Yet here they were, walking confidently into the heart of danger, daring the galaxy's deadliest leaders to react. The leader of the council, a massive being with armor that glowed like molten metal, banged its staff on the floor. "Explain yourselves, humans. Why are you here?" Ilara smiled, a glint of mischief in her eyes. "Because it's time someone reminded the galaxy that humans are not to be underestimated." The chamber trembled. A few of the smaller council members whispered to each other, questioning the wisdom of even speaking. Others simply stared, their glowing eyes widening. Then Yarok stepped forward, folding his arms. "We've heard all the stories about your council, about how powerful and smart you are. And yet, here we are. No weapons, no threats, just humans." He paused and grinned. "Funny, isn't it, that the galaxy fears humans so much, yet doesn't really know us?" The council hissed and clicked, their confusion growing. They had expected threats, intimidation, or outright submission. They did not expect casual humor, confidence, or smirks. Ilara took another step forward. "We didn't come to fight today," she said. "We came to talk. And maybe, to teach a lesson." A low rumble ran through the chamber. Some council members began to frown, others whispered urgently. The tension was thick enough to slice through. Every being in the room felt the challenge in the human's confidence. One alien, covered in jagged crystal armor, stepped forward. "You dare enter this chamber as equals, without respect, without fear." Ilara laughed softly. "Respect is earned. Fear is temporary. And equality, well, humans have a way of surprising even the most powerful." For a moment, silence filled the chamber again. The humans had done what no one thought possible. They had commanded attention without a single weapon drawn. They had turned the table, making the intimidating council question their own expectations. Finally, the leader slammed his staff down once more. "Very well," it bellowed. "You may speak. But know this, any misstep, and you will regret it for the rest of your lives." Ilara's grin widened. She knew the council underestimated humans. She knew they had no idea what humans were capable of. And that was exactly why they had walked in wearing t-shirts and grins. Because in the galaxy, confidence, courage, and cleverness were often more powerful than armor, weapons, or fear. And the humans of Earth had all three. The Deathworld Council chamber was still tense. Ilara and her team stood confidently in the center, still wearing their casual t-shirts, smirking at the towering alien leaders. The Council's initial shock had worn off, but it was quickly replaced by suspicion and anger. "You claim humans are not to be underestimated," the crystal-armored alien said, its voice sharp and echoing. "Then prove it. Show us why you dare enter this chamber without fear." Ilara exchanged a glance with Yarok. They had expected this. Humans were small compared to most alien species, but they had learned something invaluable: brains over brawn, strategy over size. Yarok stepped forward, spreading his hands. "We don't need weapons to prove our worth. We've come to show that humans are clever, adaptable, and persistent." One council member, covered in black scales and spikes, hissed, "Clever? Adaptable? You are still fragile. One attack, and you are gone." Ilara smiled, tilting her head. "That may be true, if you only judge by size and strength. But we survive because we think differently. We adapt. We work together." The council murmured. Some leaned forward, intrigued despite themselves. The leader, the massive being with glowing molten armor, slammed its staff. "Very well. You will face the council's test. Succeed, and you may leave alive. Fail, and your species will be remembered only as prey." Ilara's heart raced, but she did not show fear. Instead, she walked confidently to the center of the holographic platform. "We accept your challenge," she said. The chamber lights dimmed, and the holograms shifted. A virtual environment appeared around them, a simulation of a dangerous alien world filled with treacherous terrain, energy traps, and strange creatures. The Council's test had begun. "Humans must retrieve the core crystal from the center of the planet," the leader boomed. "It is nearly impossible. Many species have failed. Will you succeed?" Ilara studied the holographic terrain. The energy traps shifted unpredictably, and alien creatures patrolled every corner. Yet she smiled. Humans were good at solving problems under pressure. That was their secret weapon. "Stick together," she whispered to her team. "Watch each other's backs. Use your minds first, muscles second." The humans moved carefully, analyzing patterns in the traps. One of the creatures lunged at them, and they dodged, predicting its movement. They worked as a team, using improvisation and logic instead of force. Yarok found a narrow path over a glowing energy field. "Here," he said. "Follow me, step by step." Ilara led the way, signaling her team to move quietly. The aliens in the chamber observed, their expressions a mix of disbelief and curiosity. No one had expected humans to succeed with such simple tools: brains, teamwork, and courage. Suddenly, the simulation changed. The terrain shifted, and the energy traps became more erratic. One of the humans, a young engineer named Myra, gasped. "They're testing our ability to adapt to sudden changes," she exclaimed. Ilara nodded. "Exactly. That's what humans do best. We survive by thinking faster than our environment changes." Step by step, they reached the center of the simulation. The core crystal floated above a pedestal, radiating energy. It was surrounded by a protective field, nearly impossible to bypass with brute force. Ilara stepped forward, analyzing the energy flow. "It's a pattern," she said. "We can redirect it by timing our movements." Yarok and Myra worked together, mirroring her actions. Their hands and gestures synchronized perfectly with the energy pulses. The field flickered, weakened, and finally dissipated. Ilara reached out and touched the core crystal. It floated into her hands, calm and harmless now. The humans had succeeded. The hologram faded. The council chamber returned to normal. The alien leaders were stunned. Their eyes widened, mandibles clicked, and one even leaned back in disbelief. You survived the council's test," the crystal-armored alien hissed. "No one has ever done that before." Ilara smiled and held the core crystal high. "We didn't survive because of strength. We survived because of teamwork, intelligence, and courage." The leader's staff hit the floor again. "Perhaps We have underestimated humans. Ilara smirked. Perhaps you have. But don't worry, we're happy to show the galaxy what humans are capable of. A low murmur ran through the council. Some members whispered among themselves, realizing that humans were far more dangerous than they had assumed. Not because of weapons or size, but because of ingenuity, creativity, and boldness. The humans had not only survived, they had earned respect. And for the first time, the Deathworld Council wondered, could humans be more than just small, fragile creatures in the galaxy? Ilara looked around the chamber, still smiling. The council might try to intimidate them next, but humans had already proven something important, never judged by size, attire, or casual grins. Sometimes, audacity and intelligence are the greatest weapons of all. The Deathworld Council had never faced a species like humans before. After the first test, a murmur spread across the chamber. Many of the alien leaders whispered among themselves, some clicking mandibles or twitching tentacles in disbelief. None of them had expected humans to succeed, not with brute force, not with weapons, not with intimidation, but with brains, teamwork, and boldness. The council leader, the massive being with molten armor, slammed its staff on the floor. You have survived one test, humans. But the council is not satisfied. You will now face the true challenge. Only one species has ever completed it, and it failed. Ilara and her team exchanged glances. They had prepared for surprises, but the word sent a shiver down their spines. The room dimmed, and a new holographic environment appeared. This time, the simulation was not just a dangerous planet. It was a galactic war zone, filled with fleets, unpredictable energy storms, and alien forces that seemed invincible. The challenge was clear. Humans had to navigate, strategize, and survive against overwhelming odds. The council watched intently, some leaning forward with suspicion, others muttering doubts. Fragile species, one hissed. They will crumble. Ilara stepped forward. We adapt, she said calmly. We plan. We fight with our minds first, not just our hands. The first test of the true challenge was a puzzle. A fleet of alien ships appeared on the hologram, blocking a key star system. Ilara quickly analyzed the pattern of movement, predicting the ship's trajectory. Divide and flank, she whispered to her team. Use misdirection. Make them chase shadows. The humans moved their holographic avatars in perfect coordination. Energy shields flared, laser fire scattered, but they guided their fleet with cleverness, using timing and positioning rather than brute force. The council hissed and clicked. Their eyes widened as humans began to outmaneuver impossible odds. Next came the energy storms. These storms were unpredictable, capable of destroying entire fleets in moments. Yet Myra, the engineer, noticed patterns. They're cyclical, she whispered. If we move in sync with the pulses, we can pass safely. Ilara nodded. Good. Lead the way. Step by step, they navigated the storm, dodging the deadly surges and using the environment to their advantage. The council stared in shock. No species had survived the true challenge without heavy losses, yet humans moved with precision, calm, and audacity. Finally, the last obstacle appeared, a massive alien warship, pulsating with energy and shield stronger than any humans had ever encountered. It loomed over the simulation like a god of war. Ilara studied it, thinking fast. The shield generator is external, she said. We don't attack it head-on. We need to trick it. She gave precise instructions. Yarrick activated decoy ships while Myra used the energy currents to move their main ship undetected. Ilara herself guided the core crystal through the holographic field, keeping it safe from the enemy's energy beams. The warship fired relentlessly, but humans anticipated every move. After tense moments, the ship was tricked, neutralized, and the path to the star system was open. The hologram dissolved, and the chamber returned to normal. Silence fell. The council's eldest member, with tentacles curling nervously, hissed, "Impossible. They cannot be real. No species could think this fast, act this calmly, and survive." Ilara smiled, holding the core crystal. "We are humans," she said. "We survive by thinking, adapting, and never underestimating the impossible." The council murmured again. Some were angry, some impressed, but all were forced to reconsider what humans could do. The leader slammed its staff one final time. You have survived the true challenge," it bellowed. "Perhaps We have underestimated your species. Ilara smirked. Underestimation has always been humanity's advantage. For the first time, the Council realized that humans were not just fragile observers. They were clever, adaptable, and dangerous in ways no one had predicted. Ilara glanced at her team. Each of them had grown braver, smarter, and more confident. Together, they had faced impossible odds and survived, proving a simple truth: humanity thrives when underestimated. The Council would never forget this day. Not because humans were large or armed, but because they had survived through intelligence, audacity, and boldness. And in that moment, the galaxy began to see humans differently. The Deathworld Council had watched humans survive impossible challenges. Yet even their astonishment could not prepare them for what came next. The chamber fell silent. Every council member, from the smallest to the largest, fixed their glowing eyes on Ilara and her team. A subtle tension filled the air. Was this the moment humans revealed their secret? Ilara stepped forward, her grin steady, calm, and confident. "You think we survived the tests because we are strong or armed," she said. "But humans have something more. Something you never expected." A crystal-armored council member hissed, leaning forward. "Speak. What is this power you claim?" Ilara raised her hand. "Not power in the usual sense. Not weapons. Not brute force. We survive because of creativity, adaptability, and intelligence. And we are not limited by fear." Yarok pulled a small device from his backpack, a sleek, compact piece of alien-looking technology. The Council gasped. Humans had brought advanced tech that none recognized, yet it worked in ways that even the aliens could not predict. "This is just the beginning," Ilara said, activating the device. A holographic projection appeared, larger than anything in the chamber before. It showed star systems, fleets, and alien civilizations, but with one difference. Humans were highlighted, their potential mapped across the galaxy. "Look," Ilara said, pointing to the display. "Humans are small and underestimated. Yes, but we adapt faster than anyone. We learn from every failure. We innovate under pressure. And when necessary, we surprise our enemies." The Council muttered among themselves. One elder clicked its mandibles nervously. Another's tentacles twitched. Even the leader, the massive molten-armored being, banged its staff thoughtfully. Ilara continued. "We've survived wars, disasters, and threats you wouldn't believe. And we've done it with limited resources. Imagine what we can do if the galaxy truly acknowledges our capabilities." Suddenly, the hologram shifted. It displayed a simulation of a potential conflict between the Council and humans. The humans in the simulation were not fighting with weapons. They were outsmarting and outmaneuvering advanced fleets, turning environmental hazards into advantages, and using diplomacy to sway alien allies. The Council stared, silent. For the first time, they saw humans as more than small, fragile creatures. They saw a species that could challenge expectations and survive impossible odds. A council member, scales gleaming under the chamber lights, hissed, "This is impossible. No species could strategize so fast. No species could adapt so quickly." Ilara smiled. "Humans are simple. Yes, but our simplicity is our strength. We see solutions where others see chaos. We act boldly when others hesitate. And we never underestimate the impossible." The leader's staff struck the floor. You show skills beyond comprehension. Perhaps there is merit in allowing you to speak." Ilara took a step closer. "We're not here to conquer. We're here to prove that humans deserve to be taken seriously. And if the galaxy wants peace, it must first understand humanity." A few council members leaned forward, intrigued. Others hissed and clicked, still wary. But all had to admit, humans were no longer merely small, fragile observers. They were clever, audacious, and full of hidden potential. Then Ilara tapped the device again. A new layer of the projection appeared, humans managing complex situations, forming alliances with previously hostile species, and turning potential disasters into opportunities. "This," she said, her voice steady, "is the hidden power of humans. Not the size of our bodies, not the sharpness of our claws, not even our weapons. It is our ability to think, adapt, and surprise. We make the impossible possible." The council murmured in disbelief. Some were impressed, some wary, and some clearly afraid. For the first time, the humans were not being measured against weakness, they were being measured against potential. Ilara's eyes scanned the chamber. She could feel the energy, the tension, the curiosity. She knew the Council would never forget this moment. And she knew the galaxy had just begun to understand humanity's true nature. "Do not underestimate humans again," she said, turning slightly, letting her smirk linger. "Because we are just getting started." The Council's leader leaned back, silent. For the first time, it seemed unsure. The humans had survived tests, challenges, and now revealed a hidden power. What could they do next? Ilara glanced at her team. Each one shared her quiet confidence. Together, they had proven something astonishing. Humans may be small, but they are unpredictable, clever, and unstoppable in ways the galaxy has never seen. The Deathworld Council chamber was silent, but the tension was thick enough to feel. After witnessing humans survive impossible tests and reveal their hidden power, the alien leaders were no longer sure how to respond. Some glared with suspicion, while others leaned forward, curiosity sparking in their glowing eyes. The leader, the massive being with molten armor, slammed its staff for emphasis. "Humans, you have survived our tests. You have shown cunning and courage beyond what we expected. But this chamber is not known for mercy. Tell us, why should we allow you to live, let alone leave this hall unscathed?" Ilara stepped forward, her casual t-shirt belying the authority in her voice. "Because humans are not just survivors. We are thinkers, planners, and innovators. And we can offer value to the galaxy, if you are willing to recognize it." The Council hissed and clicked, their alien languages blending into a chaotic symphony. Some debated openly, others whispered in fear. One council member, covered in jagged obsidian spikes, stood and slammed its clawed hand. "You flaunt your abilities. You dare to challenge our expectations. Many species would have cowered, yet you mock us with grins and casual clothing. Why should we not destroy you where you stand?" Ilara smiled. "Because destruction benefits no one. Humans survive not by attacking blindly, but by understanding, negotiating, and adapting. You may see us as fragile, but underestimate us again, and you'll find we are far more dangerous than you think." The chamber trembled. Several aliens hissed, mandibles clicking in agitation. Yet some of the older members leaned back, clearly intrigued. They had never seen beings act so boldly without fear. Yarrick stepped forward. "We do not come seeking war, but if the galaxy wants to underestimate humans, it does so at its own peril. We have survived impossible odds. We have adapted. We have grown stronger because of our failures. And now, we offer something new, cooperation." The Council murmured. Cooperation was rare in this chamber. It was a place of judgment, power, and intimidation. Yet humans, small and casual, spoke as equals. Suddenly, one council member, a tentacled elder whose skin shimmered like liquid metal, spoke slowly, its voice echoing through the hall. "Perhaps we have misjudged them. Perhaps humans are different." Ilara's smirk widened slightly. Humans had always thrived when underestimated. The alien leaders now saw that their traditional assumptions were flawed. Humans had survived by thinking, not by strength alone. But not all council members agreed. The crystal-armored alien banged its chair. "Different or not, they are a threat. We cannot allow such unpredictability to grow. The galaxy may crumble if these humans are left unchecked." A debate erupted. Some argued for alliance and guidance, others for elimination. Humans, small and unarmed, were suddenly the center of a galaxy-wide power struggle. Ilara remained calm. She knew this was a test in itself. This was the final stage. Could the Council accept humanity, or would fear dominate their judgment? "Listen," she said clearly, stepping closer to the center. "Humans do not seek domination. We do not conquer without reason. But we do survive. And we do adapt. If you work with us, the galaxy benefits. If you fight us out of fear, you risk awakening something far more dangerous than you imagine." Silence returned to the chamber. The humans' confidence, mixed with subtle hints of power, had shifted the balance. The Council could not ignore them, nor could they dismiss them. The leader of the Council leaned forward, molten armor glowing. "Very well. Humans, you have proven that you cannot be ignored. You are different, perhaps valuable. Perhaps dangerous. We will watch closely. But know this, every move you make will be scrutinized. The Council does not forgive mistakes easily. Ilara nodded. We expected no less. And we welcome it. Humans learn from scrutiny and grow stronger. That is our advantage. Some council members began to whisper, clearly impressed. Others clicked and hissed, wary of humans' audacity. But one thing was certain. Humans were no longer dismissed as fragile observers. Yarrick glanced at Ilara. We've survived their challenges. Now it's time to show them what humans can truly do. Ilara smiled. Patience. We have already shown enough for one day. Let them learn that humans are clever, adaptable, and bold. The rest will come in time. The Council deliberated late into the cycle. By the end of the day, humans were allowed to leave the chamber alive. More than that, they were acknowledged as a species with potential, capable of influencing galactic events in ways no alien had imagined. As the humans walked out, still smiling and casual, some council members whispered to each other, "These humans, they may yet reshape the galaxy." And for the first time, the humans knew, the galaxy had begun to take them seriously. The humans had survived tests, revealed their hidden power, and gained the Council's wary respect. But the Deathworld Council was not done. Ilara and her team stood before the alien leaders, sensing the unspoken question, what will humans do next? The chamber was quiet, tension thick in the air. The council leader, molten armor gleaming, slammed its staff. Humans, you are clever, audacious, and unpredictable. But cleverness alone does not secure survival in the galaxy. Tell us now, what is your purpose? Ilara looked around, scanning the towering beings who had ruled fear and power for centuries. Our purpose, she said, her voice steady, is simple. Humanity seeks to protect, adapt, and grow. We do not conquer without reason, but we also do not cower in the face of danger. And now, we offer a choice. The council members hissed, clicked, and whispered among themselves. A few leaned forward, their curiosity piqued. A few trembled, realizing they had misjudged humans profoundly. Ilara raised her hand. We can either exist in the galaxy as small, underestimated observers, or we can step forward as a force that protects life, fosters knowledge, and challenges the impossible. We have the ability to influence, to learn, and to adapt. The choice is ours to make. One council member, jagged black scales gleaming, hissed, "You speak as if the galaxy is yours to command. You are still small, fragile, and untested against true power." Ilara smiled. Small, yes. Fragile, sometimes. But underestimated, always. That is our advantage. And now, we choose to act, to take responsibility for our role in the galaxy. Yarrick stepped forward. We do not seek to dominate others. We seek to survive, to grow, and to prove that humans can be trusted with the future. But we will act boldly if necessary. The council murmured. Many were impressed. Others worried. Humans had survived the council's tests, displayed hidden power, and now demonstrated vision and strategy. The aliens realized this was more than a species. They were a new force in the galaxy. The council leader banged its staff again. Very well. Humans, you have shown cleverness, courage, and audacity. But the galaxy will test you in ways you cannot imagine. Will you rise to meet the challenge, or will you falter? Ilara took a deep breath. We will rise, she said. Humans have always survived the impossible. And now, we step into the galaxy not as fragile beings, but as guardians, learners, and innovators. The next challenge is ours to face. A holographic display suddenly appeared, showing star systems, fleets, and distant worlds. Humans were small, yes, but highlighted pathways suggested potential influence, alliances, and threats. The council stared, realizing the humans' choices could reshape entire regions of space. Ilara pointed to the display. We do not seek to conquer. We seek to prove that humans can make a difference, that we can learn, adapt, and protect. But make no mistake, if threatened, we will act decisively. That is our nature. The council remained silent, some leaning forward, others retracting in cautious respect. They had underestimated humans at every turn, and now they realized the galaxy might never be the same again. Then came a subtle signal from one corner of the chamber, a communication from another sector of the galaxy. Unknown fleets, far larger and more advanced than any humans had seen, were moving toward key systems. The council shifted uneasily. Ilara's eyes narrowed. "This is why humans must act," she said. "Not for glory, not for power, but for survival, and to show the galaxy that intelligence, courage, and adaptability are forces to be respected." Yarrick placed a hand on her shoulder. "Are we ready for this?" he asked. Ilara smiled, confident. "We have survived every test so far. The galaxy is watching. And humans, we will rise to meet it." The council leader banged its staff once more. "So be it. Humans, your destiny begins now. Step forward, and the galaxy will see what your species is truly capable of." Ilara turned toward the exit of the chamber. Behind her, the council watched, some fearful, some respectful, all aware that humanity had changed the rules of the galaxy. As the humans walked out, still smiling and casual, a new energy filled the chamber. The Deathworld Council, the galaxy's most fearsome rulers, had learned something important. Underestimating humans was the greatest mistake anyone could make. Ilara looked at the stars beyond the council chamber. She knew challenges awaited, threats approaching, and mysteries hidden in distant systems. But she also knew this: humans were no longer small or fragile. They were clever, bold, and capable of shaping the future. And for the first time, the galaxy truly feared and respected them. The galaxy had never seen anything like it. Humans had entered the Deathworld Council with casual t-shirts and confident grins. They had survived impossible tests, revealed hidden power, and made choices that shook the galaxy's most fearsome leaders. Now, as Ilara and her team walked out of the council chamber, a new reality was clear. Humanity had begun to carve its place among the stars. The council watched silently, some with respect, some with unease. The humans were small and fragile in body, yes, but their intelligence, adaptability, and audacity had proven far more powerful than any weapon or fleet. Ilara glanced at the stars beyond the chamber. She knew this was only the beginning. The galaxy was vast, full of unknown civilizations, challenges, and dangers. And humans were ready, not just to survive, but to influence, protect, and explore. In the weeks that followed, humans began to demonstrate their capabilities openly. Engineers adapted alien technology, creating ships faster and stronger than many expected. Scientists shared knowledge of distant worlds, uncovering resources and secrets that others had overlooked. Diplomats negotiated cautiously but boldly, forming alliances that had seemed impossible. Across the galaxy, species began to take notice. Humans were no longer seen as fragile observers. They were clever, resourceful, and unpredictable. Some feared them. Others respected them. But all agreed that humans were a force to be acknowledged. Ilara watched as fleets of human ships passed through previously forbidden systems, carrying knowledge, aid, and ambassadors. Even the most hostile species paused, recognizing the humans' intelligence and courage. One council member whispered to another, scales shimmering nervously, "They are different. They survive, they adapt, and they lead." Ilara smiled quietly. Humans had always thrived when underestimated. That same trait, the ability to surprise, to think, to adapt, had carried them through the Deathworld Council. Now, it would carry them across the galaxy. She thought back to the first moment she walked into the chamber, casual and unarmed. At the time, she had felt fear. But now, she understood something important. Humans did not survive because they were fearless. They survived because they were clever, united, and bold. The Council, once hostile and dismissive, had begun to acknowledge humanity's potential. And the rest of the galaxy would soon follow. In distant systems, humans began to shape history quietly but profoundly. They formed alliances where others would have clashed. They solved crises that could have destroyed civilizations. And, always, they adapted, learning faster than anyone anticipated. Ilara knew that humans' true power lay not in weapons or fleets, but in their ingenuity, courage, and willingness to take risks. That was a power no one could predict, and no one could fully control. Back on Earth, children looked at the stars differently. No longer did they dream only of adventure. They imagined responsibility, strategy, and discovery. Humanity's legacy was not just survival. It was inspiration, curiosity, and leadership. The Council's leader, molten armor glowing faintly, finally spoke, "Humans, you have shown us that strength is not measured in size, numbers, or fear. It is measured in vision, courage, and intelligence. The galaxy will remember you. Ilara turned to Yarok and Myra, her team, and whispered, "We've started something greater than ourselves. Humans are no longer small or fragile. We are remembered. And this is only the beginning." As they looked toward the stars, a faint shimmer appeared across the sky, a silent message from the Deathworld Council and distant civilizations. Humanity had been tested, judged, and proven extraordinary, and the galaxy would never forget them. Humans had entered with t-shirts and grins. They had survived the impossible. They had shown boldness, cleverness, and unity. And now, their legacy was set. To survive against the odds. To adapt where others fail. To inspire and protect. The stars shone brighter that night. They reflected the courage and ingenuity of a small, fragile species that had dared to walk among the galaxy's most powerful and survive. Ilara smiled. The galaxy would face countless challenges, threats, and mysteries. But humanity was ready. Humans would rise to every test, confront every danger, and leave a mark no one would ever forget. And as the Council and distant civilizations watched quietly from afar, one thought became clear. Underestimating humans had always been the greatest mistake in the galaxy.